think one of the reasons why this application is asked for such a big increase, and this is it caused all the OCGT costs and all the problems we have seen would not have been there if there would have been a much better performance on Kusile and Itupi. But now today, in this application, we actually have to pay for it. And we are told to pay for it. And the current debt position of Eskom is mainly caused by the failure of Kusile and Itupi. So, but in essence, we obviously don't agree with that because it's inefficient cost which is included in the application. So the next point to mention is that there's some legacy costs of IPPs. We do get a lot of information from Eskom, and if you read through it, you will see that rounds 1 to round 3.5 are very costly, and there's a cost of about 45 billion rand in the MYPD6 application, at least additional cost caused by these rounds, but these are contracts which were concluded, so at this point in time and over the last so many years nothing has been done about it, and it has been charged to the users. Then we also think the application can be improved. OCGT usage is scheduled to be 6%, so it's a very expensive power. We appreciate the whole system, but we do know that in 2017 and 18, which is not that long ago, OCGT usage was actually below 1%, and it always has been scheduled at 1%. So why it needs to be 6% now, we do not understand. We also know that the plant performance is already better than what you have put into the application, so that can be improved as well. Another point is one we have already touched on, or Mr. Kasim touched on. So the Eskom output reduces dramatically. So this is from 2019 to 2028, and you see that the gigawatt hours which Eskom produces is going down. That is the red line, and it eventually goes down by 35% for year 3 of the application. But the capacity that Eskom has available is the blue line. It's actually still going up because it's one of the Medupi or Kusile generation stations that still comes in. So Eskom is actually doing less and less. But the cost to produce less and less at best stays the same. And the output shrink 35%, but the costs go up. And if you look on the table, I hope it's big enough. So that is the table I made for the generation cost, for example. So that is the department that generates the power for Eskom. So in 2023 there were 13,000 people, and the plan is for 2028 still to have 13,000 people, although the production is 35% less. And on top of that, these people come at current cost close to 1 million rand per head per year. And it creates a big inflation on the cents per kilowatt hour, which then have to be charged through to us. And it's the same, this is just a personnel cost, but cost of maintenance, cost of OPEX, capital investment and RAB, and I think we've already addressed it, it just goes up, up and up. Same with coal cost. You can calculate the rands per ton. So Eskom will pay 90% more for coal between 2023 to 2028. So that is what it's planned for. So 90% more. The inflation is only 30% for the same period. And coal usage reduces a lot. It actually reduces by 25% over that period. Another thing that was already touched on by Mr. Bukula is the NPAs, so the negotiated pricing agreements, which are being made specifically with metal smelters. And there used to be one, and that one has been contested for a long time. It's the Richards Bay aluminium smelter. I believe even the DA at one point in time had a court case for disclosure a long time ago on that. But now there's 12 in this application. It it really means that these smelters that used to get electricity competitively from Eskom can no longer get competitive electricity anymore, but they get special conditions. And that whole funding of MPAs comes at a cost, if you properly calculate it, of 108 billion rand for the MYPD6 period. And there's no disclosure regarding the justification of this 108 billion. So that is actually a real problem, because we actually have to pay up to 10% more for electricity because of the existence of these agreements. And we do not really know whether we benefit from it. And for us, specifically as municipal employers, we employ a lot of people. Our business is very intensive. So there's a similar story with international sales. International sales have been funded by the users as well. But at least in the application, that funding is coming down. So it's a good thing that it looks like that was being dealt with. Then we also believe that in the application, Eskom actually blows up its distribution losses. So they charge a 10% loss, let's say 9.5% loss across the board to all the users. But our municipalities get electricity at a very high voltage, so there's no 10% loss on it. And actually, I also do not see that this way of calculation actually matches with Eskom's own numbers and own rules. Another thing I want to mention is the double taxation on environmental. We always have paid environmental levies, and that is now being replaced by, well, it's actually not being replaced. Now there's a carbon tax on top of that. So now we have two taxes on environmental, and we do not understand why Treasury sees it like this. So our proposed way forward, I think, being in a municipality here and representing mostly municipal industry, the catastrophic local municipalities must be fixed or dealt with. So for our local municipality, we propose that we get support for a rescue plan for the department, because obviously the first prize is still that we deal with the municipality and fix it. And we really obviously understand there's a principle of active partnering which has been launched by Eskom, which we obviously would really think is a really positive thing, and which we like to use at the base for finding a solution for the electricity department in our city. So but it's clear that the cost of municipal inefficiency and default cannot be a burden to Eskom, because that actually is one of the reasons of all evil. So we then also would like to ask NERSA to review the application to reflect efficient cost and efficient operation of Eskom per the ERA section 15, which says that the tariff should reflect efficient cost. And then, we would like NERSA to review the applied cost escalations, also in the light of the lack of downsizing at Eskom. Downsizing in line with actually the sales which is being put forward. And then the last point is also the subsidy to smelters, which we believe must be reviewed, and I think Mr. Bukulo already raised that point in the discussion with Eskom. Because this really jeopardizes labor-intensive medium-sized industry across the country, and it adds about 10% of price to our electricity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mertens. I just want to check if the colleagues will have questions of clarity from your presentation. I'd like to start from this side. Mr. Bokula, nothing from your side. Mr. Mkiza, anything?
Thank you very much for the presentation. Just two things. If you can provide more insights regarding the loss providing the profile of your members, if you do have that relates to them switching, say for example, from being on the grid and using maybe off-grid solutions, or moving to solar as opposed to tapping from Eskom supply, so that you get an indication of the elasticity and things related thereto. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkize. Advocate Sithole. Thank you, Mr. Desmond. All right, thank you very much. From my side, it is the question relating to the NPAs. Is it your view that the NPAs are a burden on Eskom's revenue and also other standard customers, compared to a situation where there are no NPAs at all, if one looks at the sales and the amount of volumes that they take from Eskom? Just to weigh those two scenarios, if you can just respond to that. Thank you. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for the questions. I think obviously on the losses, I think I tried to explain it, but basically you charge a 10% loss to all the customers, but you also distribute to for example, residential users, where the losses are a lot higher, and you make an average of 10%, and you charge the 10% to everybody. So actually the high loss areas, low voltage areas are being advantaged versus the high voltage areas. That's basically the argument. Okay. Then the profile of our members. So the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality is solely supplied by the municipality. Your license reflects that. I think it's only the Colchester area which is an exception. Also, the infrastructure is very dense and interrelated, so it's not easy to kind of separate industrial areas in the Nelson Mandela Bay, because it's all mixed with other areas. So that is really the condition we are dealing with. So we need a solution that is an integrated solution for the whole municipality.
Okay, Mr. Mkize has a follow-up question, maybe just to clarify something.
Let me just clarify there, please, regarding switching over to PV, the alternates to electricity, grid supply.
Yeah, so
you don't have to answer here and now, but I'm saying if you have that kind of information for them migrating away from electricity. Thank you. Sorry.
PV, a lot of our members have kind of introduced PV, but it creates absolutely no independence, because we are 24/7 operations very often, so we need electricity at all times. So we are dependent on Eskom supply and municipal distribution.
Oh, but if you can kindly, just so that we can have this information that he's requesting, is trying to ascertain, and also I think it's linked to the question of the elasticity that you mentioned, because you said that the elasticity of 0.254 or so percent is likely to reduce further. I think there is that information. Yes, the elasticity of 0.254% is likely to reduce, and Mr. Mkize is trying to see those that may have connected to renewables, whether there's a chance that if the increase is too high, are they likely to invest more in renewables, even in batteries, so that they can rather be supplied elsewhere?
Look, I think there's no doubt that if we're going to get, it's for the municipalities, a 43% increase from the 1st of July, for sure there will be much more increased investment in PV, it's clear. Okay, and then there was a further question on the MPAs. I think there were public participation processes around these things which are available for us to look at, but there's not real disclosure because the numbers are not disclosed. So, and we are being told that it's better for us, but we can't see that it's better for us. And more important is that it was never needed before. So why is it now? Well, apart from the aluminium plant, the other 11 were not needed before. So why are they now needed? And then by implementing that, you jeopardize all the labor-intensive industry, ESCOM Direct, and the industry in municipalities to the order of 10% for including everything. So that is really the thing, and we cannot see how it benefits us at all. You know, it's basically converted minerals which are cheaply which get cheap electricity to be exported without a lot of beneficiation in the country. Not necessarily, we do not see that. But we are labor-intensive industry in the municipalities, and we just get charged for that.
We thank you very much. I think ESCOM has got that as well, and also NERSA, to make sure that we facilitate transparency around the NPAs, because to the extent that it is a cost to people that pay the tariffs, it is also important that they understand how that cost is imposed on them and how they benefit from having those sales being preserved from the through the NPAs. We thank you very much, Mr. Mertens. We would like to take a lunch break at this point in time, and then when we come back, we'll start with NUMSA, if NUMSA can be ready after the break. We will take 30 minutes for lunch, so we will come back here at 1 o'clock. Thank you.